You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Oh, you didn't know? Yes, it is. Welcome everybody to the Hot Tag. Brought to you by the Official Wrestling Museum. We are your hosts. I am Angel, and I'm joined by the Official Wrestling Museum's Hall of Famer.
No live.
And we're talking Hall of Fame. This past weekend, we had the honor to induct not one, not two, but three new members into the Official Wrestling Museum's Hall of Fame. It was an honor to induct Sonny Ono.
WCW fame.
Yes.
Then we had John Reckner, who everyone would know. Who's John Reckner? Balls Mahoney. I mean, you got to know Balls Mahoney.
Yeah, he was an awesome guy and excited about this one.
Thompson's Water Seal. Little inside joke with Balls.
And Gang Grill. That one right there was special
one of the best
for me.
entrances of all time. The Brood
Yeah.
entrance was, I mean, I saw a little thing about Gangrel was like, I remember he did a shoot interview, and they asked him, like, why were you always smiling when you would come to the ring? He was like, with that entrance, how could I not? Like, that entrance was awesome. Even though they said the first time he did it, he got caught on fire, his boots or something.
Yes, yeah.
But he said, how could I not? That entrance was so awesome. And it was.
It
Another
really-
thing, too, he said he did a show, Donald Trump was at the show with whoever, what was his wife's name? Ivanka?
I don't know. I don't pay
But
attention to them.
anyway, he's with and they're there, front row, and he's got the blood chalice all over them.
It's pretty cool to have him in it. Everybody knew him and Luna Vachon was married. We have Luna in the Hall of Fame as well as her Uncle Paul. So to have that little group together.
That whole family. You get that family, you get the Rougeaus in there too. So.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool to have something like that. Now, I know we got here today, and Ben was telling us that there was an email, but he wasn't able. Did you print it out yet? No? It's in my email? Okay. So we got an email from a fan. It came in, I guess, this morning and stuff. So we just want to read it off here today. It says, hold on. I should get into the right email first, right? Okay. All right. But while we're going, congratulations to all the Hall of Famers. It was a huge honor to be able to honor you guys. All right, here we go. Hello, I want to take a moment to write into your company and let you know what your online shows that you film mean to me. Each week I wait to see what new shows you will be uploading. The facts that you take the time to tackle different topics each week shows on each show shows something that makes me want to look forward to it. Okay. I am not very good being there for people. I keep to myself a lot. You know how the world is. Everyone thinks they're better than the next person. As of late, I had to deal with some pretty hard times in my life. Looking forward and watching your shows helped me get through those times. I lost somebody special years back, and I just lost another family member. All I could do is close out my family and focus on me. Why I do this, I do not know. But at least I had your shows to help me get through these times. I want to say thank you to everyone that's involved. Have a great day. Richard Lemon from Pharr, Texas. Well, Richard, thank you very much for sending that in. Sorry for the losses that you dealt with. It's cool that we're able to be there for them, but you may want to talk to somebody. Get some counseling.
I can relate to that message because, like, after my fiance passed, I wrote into a couple podcasts that I listened
Yep.
to and said, man, these past few months have been very hard, but luckily I've been able to. There was like 2 or 3 of them that really was like a community, and you message them on Facebook or even write to them personally and just let them know, hey, thank you so much, because I've been able to, at least for this 45 minutes of how long the
Right.
podcast is, I've been able to focus on this and not everything else, and so that's pretty cool. I mean, if someone's able to get that out of this,
That's
would mean
awesome.
more to me than anything else at all. Period.
Right.
Especially
Yeah.
like for someone like me who understands that completely, that would mean more to me than anything else possibly I could ever do.
Yeah, thank you very much for writing. I'm glad we were able to be there. You may want to get somebody to talk to. I don't know if you have somebody. If you have problems
Hey,
trying to
man.
find somebody really right into the museum, maybe we could try to help point you
Yeah.
guys in some ways. But we do our best, and we're going to keep uploading new content.
Check out
but
the,
don't close out your family. Be there for your family.
Check out the free
Free preview.
turn it into him.
You are.
Check out the free preview shows that we did where I talked about losing my fiance and all the tribulations and trials and tribulations I had to go through. That might be a good episode. I don't know if you have. A lot of people have given us feedback on that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, let's.
Get in your spectacles.
It helps a lot.
I like
though.
them,
It helps.
man. I
It
do.
helps so much. How has AEW action figures held up to the hype of the WWE action figures? Ken from North Providence. Look at that. No problem reading that.
Right?
So the thing with the AEW figures is, I remember when they first came out, and everyone was like, "Oh man!" And they did look cool. Not counting that first series had like jaundice, but
Right.
like they were just horribly miscolored and everything. But they were cool. It was the main elite guys, and Brandy Rhodes. But and you couldn't find those. The hype was.
Yeah.
I didn't even attempt to even buy those. I wasn't buying figures at the time anyway. I think now though, there's still going to be some figures that come out that are going to be like any CM Punk figure that would come out, or maybe like that Swerve, or like certain figures are going to come out and people are going to buy. But then you are going to have the Pentagon or the Ray Fenix Supreme figures that any Walmart you go to, you see 7 or 8. They
Yeah.
don't move. As we've talked about, the Walmart Jerichos and the Eddie Kingstons, they just don't move. You'll see 40 of them on the shelf. So I think that I like the figures personally. I like the articulation. I like the playability better than the WWE figures. But I have my own rule. I don't buy AEW figures at retail. I'll wait till they
Yeah.
go to Burlington Coat Factory
Yep,
or
or
Ringside
Ringside, yep.
Collectibles.
For me,
Just the
I
CM
think-
Punk I bought because
Yeah.
I knew that would be hard. The ROH one
Oh, yeah.
and the Supreme one. Other than that, I'll wait.
For me, I think they held up the hype at the
In fact, just this weekend, I had the chance to get the MJF John Moxley 2-pack for $20.
Yeah.
Really good price for 2 figures.
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm not saying I won't. I might go back and get it
Yeah, it's
if
not
I
a
see
ba-
it
that's
again.
not a bad deal.
Right. It is
really
good
isn't
because it's
for
the
them.
price of 1 figure.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Yeah.
For me, I think it held up to the hype at the beginning. Is they were brand new. I do love the packaging. The problem with the packaging is the exact same package for the other series. It's just
Yeah.
a color difference. So
Right.
they should have did something different with the packaging. And
I
they
never knew
repeat-
that. I never knew
They
that
were different.
until a couple series. Like, why is one silver and one gold? I never knew.
Right,
the
you
different.
can't really,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So I think they should have did something different there. And on the same token, they do a lot of repeats. So
Yeah.
I think what helped
In that
them
short line,
at the
they've done a lot,
beginning
yeah.
was COVID hit. So it made them even rarer to hit the shelves. And now, COVID has not gone away, but in the marketing world of stuff in stores
Mm-hmm.
is easier. So you got flooded with all these figures, and now you got all these, peg warmers. And another problem that I see with the AEW figures is they don't put the talent on TV long enough to get people hyped over their figures.
Yeah, it is hard because it's stop and goes with the talent. I always like to go to Ringside Collectibles because they have all those figures on sale all the time. I think they just did a SummerSlam sale.
Yeah.
And I think that like Lance Archer's like $3.99. I think Jack Swagger or Jake Hager is like $2.49.
Yeah.
Like $2.49. Like I've said, buy a couple for Toys for Tots. All right.
Sorry, I was reading the
Oh, that's
name
fine.
of the next area.
Okay.
So, will Nia Jax join the bloodline? Doug from Dinosaur, Colorado.
Dinosaur, Colorado. Is that a real place?
I don't know. Did you ever hear of that?
I've heard of Denver, the last dinosaur, and
Right.
Dino
I've never heard of.
Saucers.
Is that like a rip or something? Like, is that legit? I don't know.
Dinosaur Jr., the musician.
I'm gonna have to look that up while we're talking. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it would make sense, but
I
at the
personally
same
don't-
time, I
yeah.
don't think they're gonna do females in the bloodline.
I mean,
don't think they can.
it's funny because I just had this conversation this morning with Stryker. We were talking, who, he's just got back from Cleveland.
Yeah.
He's gonna come. He couldn't come today. The guy's always on assignment. You know,
Yeah,
I wish I
he's-
could switch with him, but anyway.
Well, no, you haven't earned it yet.
Right.
You don't even
he
take
is
the
a,
cheese.
He is
yet.
a heavyweight champ. I'm not. So, anyway, yeah, I don't think they need, like, it doesn't fit into the story because it's like you have Nia, and then yeah, you could bring in like Tamina's retired. You have Barbarian's daughter out there. Then there's Naomi. Naomi isn't part of Bloodline, but she has Bloodline in her. So, you know what I'm saying? You didn't get what I said? Never mind.
No, I go what you. I go what you're
Anyway,
saying. I was just.
no, I don't think that they
This
should.
is a legit place. Legit
real?
town. Yeah, the population is only 241 of 2022. 8 hours and 10 minutes away from Boston.
8 hours?
Yeah,
We'll make a road trip there.
we really should.
What's his name? Doug?
Yeah, Doug.
Go see Doug.
Zip code's 81610.
What's your favorite dinosaur? Do you have one?
The one with the short arms, T-Rex. I don't
T-Rex?
know. I don't know. I always like the ones with the what's the Stegosaurus or something?
Stegosaurus?
Something I don't know.
With the
The
ones
points.
all over his back?
Yeah.
Stegosaurus.
Yep.
My favorite is the Brachiosaurus.
I also like the dinosaurs from the TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The TV show dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Brachiosaurus is my favorite. People would say Brontosaurus. No, I like the Brachiosaurus. I don't know, because his nose was on top of his head. And I always thought it was cooler because he could go underwater. And I don't know.
That's cool.
Brachiosaurus was bigger, too.
You can't forget the famous dinosaur of them all, Dino from the Flintstones.
Well, you just, yeah. All right, who
You got your glasses
All right,
on.
I have the glasses. Matt from North Providence. I'm going to siphon this one off to him. I think I might just pick another question. I think that one's being disqualified.
Who Dr. Britt Baker
Okay.
do better?
That's
Oh,
me.
Wood?
No.
I think it's supposed to be
I'm
Wood.
disqualifying that. Put it back in if
Yeah.
you want.
Matt, I think you were supposed to be saying, would Dr. Britt Baker do better in WWE?
I've already disqualified it.
Probably, she probably would.
I'm not- I
For
refuse-
how long? I don't know.
I refuse to answer it based on how bad it was. Bad it was.
Well,
written.
wasn't it? I think it was worded wrong.
Well, whoever wrote it, I've now disqualified it. Will TNA take the place of NXT for WWE? Tim from Fall River. Figures it's from Fall River. No, TNA is not going to take the place of NXT. I think that what they're doing is really cool because they are opening, I don't want to use the forbidden door term, but they are now working with other companies, which WWF really didn't do. And for them to, TNA is obviously not on the main roster level. TNA and NXT is pretty cool. I think that the guys coming over, I think that you can also get the NXT talent onto TNA. I know they've done that a little bit. So I think it's a pretty cool thing.
I will say this though, if WWE takes the ownership over of TNA,
Like if they buy it.
buy it, or full creative control, some kind of partnership with that, right? It would be smart for them if they were going to showcase either NXT or TNA to turn everything into TNA. The reason for that is,
Oh, and get rid of NXT?
yeah.
they'll-
No, and I'm going to tell you,
I'm just going to say, you
could
know they'll
be-
never do that, though.
No, of
because-
course not. Keep NXT as your developmental. Keep it, whatever. But your brand that you put on TV, because remember when they did all that stuff and they got rid of WCW, ECW. They had no competition. They had nothing. Now, if you keep a competition going, It gives a whole new light. And wait, what are they up to?
Oh,
What's
you
up
mean
their
you mean if
sleeve?
they bought TNA,
Right.
keep
Keep
TNA
the brand.
and keep NXT, keep
I-
them both?
I would say merge them together
And
and
then
keep
as
NXT as
Oh.
your developmental league.
See, I would say
And keep TNA as a company, as a brand. Kind of like what you would have done with WCW, keeping them
the
out.
thing with TNA is like it's done itself. They've done themselves so much damage over the years. Of number one, it's not a great name because obviously it was a play on TNA,
Yeah.
Vince Russo era. But then they've changed it to Impact, TNA, Global, TNA. Like they were called Impact Wrestling. Their belts all said TNA.
Do you remember when NXT, NEWA was Global Wrestling Alliance?
No,
Yeah, for a very short period of time. In fact, the belts that you held,
right? I know
Those-
they say that, but
those belts were the global tag team titles.
yeah.
Because Rock was working on a deal to get the programming to go on other PEG TVs throughout all of the U.S. in different areas, and that was the idea of it.
We're Peg TV veterans.
Yes.
But
We,
I think what was the question originally? It was like,
Yeah,
will
what
TNA
was the
take,
question?
Will
Oh,
TNA
yeah.
take over? No, I think that WWE should buy TNA just for the library and put it on the network, but always keep it its own thing. I think that TNA's been around for 20 years now, 20 plus years, or 20 years roughly.
Yeah.
And it's not been great for the last, say, 12 or so.
It's because they had too many people putting.
Yeah,
on
they've
it
had too many cooks in the
I
kitchen.
think the Octagon ring, is it 6 or
Yeah.
8?
It was a six-sided ring.
Oh, 6, so it's not Octagon.
No, Octagon's UFC.
So it's a hexagon, right?
Hexagon.
Right.
Hexagon's 5.
What the hell's a sixagon? I don't know. Whatever gon it is for six-sided ring, I think that threw it off for a lot of people. I remember they used to do a lot of like, they call them loops, when they do like 3 house shows on the row. And those shows back in, I got married in 12, so around 2011, 2012, their house shows were 100% better than their TV. And it was like, you need to put these on TV.
There was a really great era with TNA when they had, right before Hogan came in, and when Hogan came in, destroyed it. But when you had the X Division, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, like they had a really good thing going. It definitely felt like an alternative to WWF as opposed to WWF Junior. When they first started, it was just signing everyone that WWF had released. I remember.
You really like going to WWF. I'm surprised the Panda Company hasn't gone after us yet.
That's what I've always called it. I don't know. But no, whatever. On to the next one.
Is it me or you?
I pulled out that one and disqualified the other one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
I
not nice.
refuse to ever answer that question.
We'll put it back in. Won't
You can
know.
put it back in. I mean, I won't answer it today. I don't.
All right, Danny from Cranston, Rhode Island. Is Wyatt Six disrespectful towards Bray Wyatt?
You want to answer first?
Yeah,
Because I always jump in, so I'll let
So
you.
honestly, I don't find it disrespectful at all. From what they're selling to the crowd in interviews and what you hear, this was his next creation. So it's just a continuance of the story. And everything they're doing, from details on their gear to the way they're walking, they're talking, is literally in the memory of Bray Wyatt. So I don't feel at all that it's any form of disrespect. I think it's a great way to keep the memory alive. Where they go from it and what they do with them in particular is going to be time to tell. I think Bo is doing a great job so far from what we have seen, and I think they have a pretty decent crew to go all around it, so it should be interesting to see what we get out of it.
Yeah, I don't think it's disrespectful. I could see at first where maybe people might have been like, oh, they're exploiting it. I don't even feel like that. I feel
No.
like, much like what you said, it's kind of a continuation of something that was going to happen. I feel like they've done a pretty good job of it. It did start to get redundant with Nikki Cross handing the videos out. And I was like, okay, what is she, UPS worker here? Come on. And the first videos were great with Bo.
Yeah.
Awesome. The one with Rowan was really good. But then with the other 3, I thought Nikki Cross's was horrible because
I really, yeah, I think
I
they
thought-
dropped the ball
yeah,
on her. I
they
really
could've
think they
touched up on,
really
like,
did a
the
lot more on her.
relationship with like Alexa, even though they haven't made Alexa Bliss part of this yet, or if they're even gonna, they could have touched up on that relationship because she had the relationship with Bray. The other two, Casey and Loomis, didn't have that. So I thought they were going to group them in together and kind of do what they did.
Yep.
I haven't seen one on Casey yet. They'll probably do that tonight.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
From
so-
what we filmed, yeah.
right.
Yeah,
But I think the Wyatt Six thing, I think it's going to, my fear has always been, how is this going to transition in ring? And I think we kind of got a scene of that last week where, okay, they're going to wrestle with their masks off. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I think,
I'm
yeah.
interested to see where it goes.
Me too. And I think if they were going to be disrespectful and this was just a money-making avenue, when they released all the upcoming figures at the San Diego Comic-Con, I think we would have seen some Wyatt Six figures.
Yeah.
And
I
we
think
didn't see
I
any
think
of
they've
them.
done a lot worse
So
stuff
I think,
with like Eddie Guerrero and
oh my
exploited
God,
him.
that is so played out.
Yeah. Do you think Jey Uso is overrated? Robert from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I don't know if I'd say he's overrated. I think that we kind of touched up on this, I think maybe last week or the week before. I know we touched up on Jey Uso, and I said he's like at the top of the card, but he's not. He's on the cusp of hitting that top level. I could see him winning the Raw title at some point. I think that it's weird because he's not booked much. He's wasn't on SummerSlam at all. I think I don't know, because he's not on all the pay-per-views. He's one of the most over guys. He sells them, well, probably top 5 merch seller in the company, but he's not on much. And he really hasn't had a program since he went to Raw. I mean, other than at first, when the thing was everyone disliked him
Yep.
because of who he was and who he was with, he really hasn't had a program.
But if you take back our last question about Bray Wyatt, right? He's over just like Bray. In the sense, he doesn't need a program all the time.
No.
He doesn't need to be on TV wrestling every single week. So he's still able to sell that merchandise, still be able to get himself out there.
What's genius with his merchandise is now you see they get the Yee-hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to buy 2 of them.
You have to buy two.
Because it's only one.
Yeah.
You got to buy 2
Yep.
Yee-hands. And then my man, so I listened to John Pollock and Wei Ting, and they were asking about the Yee-hands. And he said, what's your consumption on foam fingers? And it's like, what do you think they cost? He's like, probably like $26 a hand. And I think they were like $16 a hand. And John Pollock had said something about, he's like, what, you wouldn't get that? He's like, but what would you do with it after the one night you're there? Like, what would you do with it 2 weeks later? What would you do with these 2 foam Yee-hands?
Right.
It's like, you're buying that for the night.
And that, you know what? That's absolutely a lot of the stuff that you get there, besides shirts, you are buying for the night. You know what I mean? The foam stuff, though, does go up in value.
Yeah, I know
It
a lot
really
of people still have
does.
like their big Boss Man
You know what I
nightsticks.
mean?
I
Yep.
had a Hogan foam finger.
Do you remember Beefcake's scissors?
I never had them, but I remember them.
I remember they had them, and I wanted them so bad, and I think I went with either the 2x4. I went with something different.
Oh, the
And they
2x4.
never had the scissors
Did you
again.
ever have the Road Warriors pads
Yep.
and the cuffs?
Oh, my father
Never
was-
had them. Never
I
wanted
had them. My father was so upset so he's like, oh, we'll put them together when we get home, because he didn't want to spend the money because you had to buy the cuffs separate from the pads at the show.
I can't.
And we got there home. Oh my God! It had like 2
Yeah,
spikes.
you had to buy the cuffs separate
Yeah,
from the pads, right?
and it wasn't like loaded like you would think it would be.
Yeah.
And he was so upset.
They were cheap.
Yeah.
There's been so many foam things over the years. I know that's not the question. We'll have to go into a 4 corners of foam
Yeah,
items.
right? We definitely
The
will.
nightstick was probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's been some bad ones too. I can't think off the top of my head.
LA Knight's got one now.
Wasn't there a Hulk Hogan one that was the ear with the hand?
Yes.
And it just looks stupid. LA Knight
Yeah.
has one?
LA Knight has one, yeah. As far as I know, it's just LA Knight right now and Jay.
What's LA Knight have? Is it just like a yeah?
It's his hand
Oh,
like
it's-
this.
all right.
Yep. All right. Jasmine from South Kingston, Rhode Island wants to know, what made AJ Lee a big star in WWE?
I think her looks was a big part of it. Her personality was another big part of it. The the way she could play that character. Her look, not just as in looking pretty, she had that little young girl look, but her look definitely, and she was a good worker for what she was.
That's basically
And passion. When people have passion, if they might not be the best worker, but when you can see that someone loves what they're doing, you can see that, but you tend to want to root for them more. You know.
right. And you're absolutely right. I think that's what it was. It was a combination of everything you said. She was very gifted in the ring on what she was able to do, what she brought to the table, how she was able to perform herself in the ring. But I think it was the size, her being so small and being able to do things that a lot of other women at that time wasn't doing, playing the character. It was very...
And I don't remember all the other women at that time, but considering what other women were there, they might not have been the best at the time, and she probably stood out as one of the girls who was a good worker. I can't really remember who was there at the time and stuff. Yeah. And I think she'll come back for at least, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Like, do we think she'll come back for at least a Rumble or something? I say yes. Put these bad boys on.
There you go.
What's your thoughts on Tony D'Angelo? Betty from East Providence, Rhode Island. I like Tony D. I think that, I don't know how much time he has left in the NXT. He's been there for a while. I personally
I hope he don't get moved up.
It's just,
Nothing against him, but I think if he gets moved up, he's only going to be an enhancement star.
well, I
when
don't
he
know.
gets
I don't
moved
know.
up.
I don't know.
I don't see him.
I'm curious how the character's going to work on the main roster. Again, some of these characters work well on the NXT level, and then when they go up to the main roster, it's too big for that character. What I would like to see happen is, like, I think that him and Stacks could move up, and he's got two other people with him down there. Leave them down there because they still need some work, and then have him be like always checking in. Like, I need you to be my eyes and ears down here. So there's still a group. There's still a family.
That would still work, but I don't think
The thing,
his character does not get over, at least to me, as a typical mobster, typical gangster type of, you know what I mean?
here's my one.
He has a pretty cool figure coming out.
Here's my one knock on the character is I know he's the boss, but he's done like a lot of tag team work with Stacks, and to me, he shouldn't. He should be on top
Right.
and not be a tag team champ.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't get over as like
I like him.
that center guy, like the Dean, like it just or the Don. It just doesn't sell it to me. You know what I mean? Even if he was a punk kid of the family, you know what I mean, that's running his own way, he doesn't even look the role of it at times. And I think if you're gonna put it on a main stage, remember NXT, and I know there'll be some people writing that, oh, that's messed up. NXT performs in front of an indie crowd. And what I mean by indie crowd is that's not insulting, but they're performing in front of only a few hundred people.
No, but that's what I said about things working on a
They're
small
not
level.
Yeah, so those small people can easily get into these characters, and then, like you were touching on, when you go in front of 18,000 people and then nationally on TV, all that stuff is going to get picked up quickly, again and again, because people are not going to buy into you, and it's just going to come out bad.
I know we got no time,
Yeah.
but real quick, I would say if he's someone that they bring up, I think he's a guy they have to bring up and kind of put in a big spot right away to get across that mafia boss thing. He can't just come in and like feud with Apollo Crews right off
You know
the
who
bat.
will help him get over? R-Truth. Seriously, R-Truth will help him get over because R-Truth can get anybody over. Thank you guys so much for sending your questions in. It truly means a lot because if you don't send them in, we can't do what we do. Make sure you scan that QR code on the screen because without you, we can't make a National Pro Wrestling Day. It takes 10 seconds to do, and it's totally free to do. Congratulations to our new Hall of Famers. Thank you, Richard, for sending in your email to us. And you know what they say? You write the questions,
What's up?
and we have the answer. See you next week, folks.